Hello everyone, welcome to our presentation on the Gucci Group, presented by Ballerina, Denise, and Delilah. We hope you enjoy the presentation and look forward to your comments. Here's an overview of our presentation. We will begin with a case introduction, then review a general environment analysis where we focus on sociocultural, global, and technological trends, followed by an industry analysis using Porter's 5 forces, a competitor and internal analysis, then a value chain analysis focused on Gucci's aim to be a multi-label company. We then respond to the 2 questions provided for this case study, present 3 strategy options, and conclude with a summary of the case study and support our strategy decision. The Gucci Group is a luxury multi-brand group that houses brands such as Gucci, YSL, and Bottega Veneta. In 2001, an economic slowdown caused a decrease in luxury sales. At the time, Dassault was the CEO of the Gucci Group and Ford was the top designer. Together, they came up with a plan to increase sales and revitalize the YSL brand. Part of the plan was to terminate almost all licensing deals, which represented more than half of YSL's revenue. In addition, Dassault and Ford increased the number of YSL stores from 25 to 60 stores between the years 2000 and 2003. Unfortunately, YSL suffered with an operating loss of 109 million euros in 2003. In 2004, Robert Paulet became chairman of the Gucci Group. Bringing Paulet in was a bold and risky move. Paulet did not have experience in the fashion industry, but Paulet had gained global management experience from his time at Unilever. A few years later, in 2008, Gucci opened its largest store in New York on Fifth Avenue. It was a 3-story store with 46,000 square feet of open space. The general environment of the luxury fashion industry was affected by the economic recession in 2001. Shortly after the September 11th terrorist attacks, several events caused a global economic downfall, which stalled the sales of luxury goods. By 2002, Gucci's sales had dropped 10%. Recessions not only affect sales, but also affect exchange rates. Given that Gucci operates in euros but also sells in different currencies such as the dollar, there is an additional risk to changes in profitability. As part of the environmental analysis, we focus on 3 trends: sociocultural, global, and technological. Sociocultural trends. As mentioned, Gucci's largest store was located on Fifth Avenue in New York. The location itself is symbolic of luxury, wealth, and prestige. A storefront in this location sets the bar at a high level in regards to quality and service expectations. The consumer market that purchases from stores on Fifth Avenue tend to have large disposable income as well as high expectations. Global trends. The internet facilitated globalization along with an increase in internet retailing. Internet retailing is a much faster and cost-effective way to reach customers in locations where companies do not have a physical presence. It is also a convenient way to shop without having to drive to a physical location. Technological trends. Technological advancements also play a role in the fashion industry. New technology affects how products are being produced. New technology is also an opportunity to reduce production time, reduce production inconsistencies, and the ability to offer product variety without large increases in the cost of manual labor. In addition, new technology offers an opportunity to experiment with combining materials to improve quality and durability. We now move on to an industry analysis using Porter's 5 forces. Industry rivalry. Some of Gucci's competitors are LVMH and Prada. LVMH is Gucci's main competitor and the world's largest luxury retailer. Players in the fashion industry had to offer quality product, exceptional service, gain customers' trust, and build a prestigious reputation as a brand. Threat of new entrants. The threat of new entrants is low because of the high entry barriers and the highly saturated industry. Competitors must be able to establish a brand image. Competitors offer similar products and some focus on the customer experience to differentiate themselves. Although the likelihood of a new competitor is low, technology can be an opportunity to offer something different. Threat of substitutes. The threat of substitutes is high, and there are essentially no switching costs. There are a large number of options within luxury brands and options at different price levels. In times of recession, there is an even higher threat of substitutes because customers may be less willing to use their disposable income on luxury goods. Power of suppliers. The power of suppliers is low because there are multiple supplier options to select from. Although Gucci relies heavily on its suppliers to produce quality products, suppliers do not want to lose the association with a prestigious luxury brand. Power of buyers. Buyer power is high due to the large number of options in high, middle, and low price tag products. Most Gucci Group customers are not sensitive to price. They have high expectations and are selective with their purchases. Since there are no switching costs, customers can jump from one brand to another if they feel they are not receiving value. It is imperative for Gucci to create brand loyalty to reduce the risk of losing customers to competitors.
Gucci's direct competitor is Moet Hennessy Louis Vuitton, also known as LVMH or simply Louis Vuitton. As the world's largest luxury retailer, LVMH has a multi-brand strategy, giving them a competitive edge against Gucci Group. LVMH has a diversified portfolio of more than 60 brands, ranging from spirits to leather goods to watches. A majority of LVMH sales are in fashion and leather goods. In 2007, fashion and leather goods represented 34% of LVMH sales and profits, followed by 25% of selective retailing, which includes Sephora and home department store Le Bon Marché. Wine and spirits represented 19% of sales, followed by 17% of perfume and cosmetics. The lowest percentage, with a 5% sales rate, was in watches and jewelry. A strategy of LVMH is to increase their sales and brand awareness. To make this possible, LVMH dropped several less productive labels, which includes Bliss Spas and Urban Decay. They have also revived several of their fashion brands, licensed products of some of their smaller brands, and continue to retain a diversified portfolio. As a result, from the year 2003 to 2007, their sales grew by 38%. Operating profit margin also increased from 16% to 22%. Robert Paulette joined Gucci Group in 2004 as the new CEO. Although Paulette had no prior experience in the fashion industry, he had strong leadership skills and a strong global brand management experience. In the past, LVMH and Chanel had also hired executives outside of the fashion industry. Therefore, it was not a big surprise to see Gucci looking for someone outside of the fashion industry to fill in leadership roles. Paulette believed that the brand is more important than the designer because the brand will stay. Paulette made operational changes. One of those changes was to give brands direct control of its own labels. Brand CEOs were given the authority and responsibility of problem resolution. Each year, brand CEOs were required to submit a 3-year business plan. This was Paulette's plan to refocus Gucci as a brand and enhance brand recognition. The 3 main brands of the Gucci group were Gucci, YSL, and Bottega Veneta. Between the year 2002 to 2008, Gucci had the highest revenue and operating income. While Gucci and Bottega had positive revenue and operating income, one of its challenges was that YSL had negative operating income between the year 2002 to 2003. Under the new leadership of Paulette, operating income for YSL began to increase. Paulette's intention with the organizational changes was to manage a portfolio of brands. By giving each brand control over its own labels, it allowed Paulette to focus on managing the broader aspect of the company from a global and portfolio management perspective, rather than focusing on specific details retail to each brand. Between 2005 to 2007, Gucci expanded and opened 16 directly operated stores in China. It has also entered the market in India. The strategy was to open stores in emerging markets. Meanwhile, sales in matured markets would slow down since customers were being more cautious with their spending due to the economic situation. One major strength of Gucci Group was its commitment to refocus on their brands. Bottega Veneta was considered the rising star of the Gucci Group. The Bottega Veneta brand was seen as a high-end luxury product. Part of its prestige was due to the unconventional approach of adding the brand label inside its products. Other strengths include the quality and durability of the products. Leather goods are also Gucci's strengths as it represents the majority of its sales. Although Gucci's largest sales were in leather goods, reviews revealed that Gucci lacked character and personality that it previously had under Ford. Sales in Europe, North America, and some of Asia increased between 2003 to 2007. However, sales in Japan have decreased from about 30% in 2003 to less than 20% in 2002. Although YSL sales were increasing under Paulette, mainly from sales of leather goods and shoes, YSL was the only unprofitable brand. More than half of its sales were in Europe, and it needed 350 million euros just to break even.
There were 2 questions presented for this case study. 1. Describe and compare the competitive positions of the different players in the luxury goods business. Who are the best positioned players and why? The Gucci Group, along with competitors such as LVMH and Chanel, hired CEOs from outside the fashion industry. The companies were looking for leadership that had experience in global management and could help grow the companies at an international level as well as manage multiple brands. The players were looking for someone who could provide leadership from a global management perspective. Companies were shifting towards housing multiple labels or brands and needed someone that could successfully manage the growing companies. Since the CEOs did not have fashion experience, their hiring created somewhat of a division between the design aspect and the business management aspect. The division fed into the focus on building brand itself instead of focusing on the designer. LVMH had a diversified portfolio and multi-brand strategy. The company diversified and cleaned up their portfolio by adding 60 brands that included a broad range of products and eliminated brands that were less productive. LVMH actually did the opposite than Dassault did for Gucci. LVMH had smaller brands license their products to increase brand awareness, resulting in a 38% sales increase from 2003 to 2007 and a growth in operating profit margin from 16% to 22%. The second question was, do you agree with Dassault's latest strategic move to buy Yves Saint Laurent and Sergio Rossi? As a group, no. When YSL was purchased, it was already a moribund brand. There were large expenses associated with growing the brand, but other actions also cut the brand's main source of revenue. A large amount of spending went into increasing the number of stores from 25 to 60 between 2000 and 2003. Additionally, Gucci discontinued almost all of YSL's licensing deals. The purpose for Dassault to end licensing deals was to give the brand more independence from the ready-to-wear European market. The opportunity lost of creating that independence was also a loss of revenue. More than half of YSL revenue came from licensing deals. The end result was an operating loss of 109 million euros. Strategy formulation. As a group, we came up with 3 strategic alternatives for the Gucci Group. The first one is for Gucci Group to add other brand names to their portfolio. By acquiring more brand names under the Gucci Group, customers will most likely remain loyal to their favorite brands and will continue to purchase products. Another alternative would be for Gucci Group to focus on the brands that are bringing in the most profits and weed out the brands that are operating at a loss. YSL was the only brand that continued to operate at a loss. By removing YSL from Gucci Group could potentially free up the budget to acquire new, more profitable brands. The last alternative would be creating innovative products that can drive profitability and growth for the company. By improving the quality of existing products or developing an entirely new product, Gucci Group will be able to increase its customer base and bring in more profits. To conclude, the Gucci Group comprised of 9 luxury brands including Gucci, YSL, and Bottega Veneta, just to name a few. Robert Pillay became CEO in 2004 and immediately made portfolio and strategy adjustments. Growth in sales and profits meant the Gucci Group was headed in the right direction, but in 2008 and 2009, the global economic downturn caused sales to decrease. While the threat of competition is low, Gucci Group cannot compete with LVMH, which is the world's largest luxury retailers. They also carry a more diversified portfolio than Gucci Group, adding about 60 brands including a broad range of products. A weakness of Gucci Group, unlike LVMH, is that they chose to keep brands that were operating at a loss. YSL continued to operate at a loss, which meant a loss of revenue to the entire Gucci Group. While there are many alternatives that Gucci Group could implement to improve the brand awareness and sales growth, we thought that Gucci Group should focus on brand deletion, where brands that do not offer values get discontinued and removed from Gucci's portfolio. By dropping weak brands with little to no contributions to the company's financial performances, resources will be freed up. By eliminating brands that brings the least profit to Gucci, the company can use those additional resources to make their more profitable brands better to customers. This creates new opportunities for growth and will help increase Gucci's sales growth and increase their customer base. This concludes our presentation, and we look forward to any comments you may have.